Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my 2024 prediction videos. Uh, we're now going to move on to the Republican side, and we're going to take a look at the front runner, Donald Trump. I think there's no question that Donald Trump is the front runner in the Republican primary and is the leader of the Republican Party. There was a sense, I think, at the beginning of the year and when the midterms were still fresh, that Ron DeSantis was the rising star inside the Republican Party. There has been a reversal in the Republican polls. DeSantis is falling, and even in one-on-one matchups with Trump, he is falling very precipitously. There is no question that also, though, that there is pushback to the ideal of the Republicans handing Donald Trump a third straight nomination. Definitely. But the fact is, Donald Trump reshaped the Republican Party, and he is still the leader of that party. And until someone beats him, he is going to be. I am of the belief, though, that all it's going to take is either Donald Trump only getting about 50% in a primary or below 50%, or someone knocking him off just one time to really shake up that race. Because it will pierce that bubble of, inevitableness that Trump currently has. But the downsides to nominating Donald Trump are immense. It's been shown consistently in polls that Trump and a Biden rematch turns out the same as 2020. Biden gets a pretty convincing re-election, and pretty much the map looks the same as it did in 2020. It would be, very hard fought in about 6 states. I personally think that if it was a rematch of 2020, the map stays the same, and you probably get a couple states that are a little bit more close, like Texas gets a little bit more close, but not enough to flip it. I'm not a believer in the blue Texas theory. North Carolina probably gets a little bit closer, but it too, kind of like Texas, it takes a real special generational type Democrat to win North Carolina. And all the respect in the world to the president, he's not that candidate. His old boss was. He did it once in a wave election. But, Trump is his own worst enemy. Part of his rise right now, I think, has been due to the fact that he's not on Twitter. He's allowed back on the platform, and there are reports that he will be returning to the platform on June 1st when his exclusivity, apparently, to Truth Social, which is his own alternative to Twitter, ends, and that's that's the dynamic. If he's more on a social media platform that has wide exposure, and he's posting really bizarre, wild, fantastical, out there things on Truth Social, would that hurt him? Does the lack of social media exposure in the end help him. Who knows? The 2022 midterms are also a big knock against him. A lot of people began, noticing that Trump-backed candidates didn't do well in swing states. You've got a whole list of them. You've got people like Mehmet Oz, who was Trump endorsed but lost the general. Won the primary but lost the general. You've got people like Blake Masters, Trump backed in the primary, lost the general. Kerry Lake, same thing. Adam Laxalt, Trump backed in the primary, lost the general. Tudor Dixon, Trump backed, won the primary, lost the general. Eric, then you have Trump inspired candidates who win the general. North Carolina, Ted Budd, Trump backed, wins the primary, wins the general. J.D. Vance, Trump backed, wins the primary, very crowded primary, by the way, very competitive primary. Trump backed, wins the primary, wins the general. Joe Lombardo in Nevada, Trump backed, wins the primary, wins the general. So you do have shades of both, but overall, those Trump-backed candidates would get trounced in the general election. And some of the more obvious ones, Georgia. Trump had a terrible time in Georgia. All but like one of his candidates in the primary got smashed. And, it was just a disaster in Georgia. And I think Georgia's one of those states that would be close in 2024 in a rematch, Biden versus Trump. But I think it would kind of be in the more safe category for the president. I would put it in from toss-up to the lean to the likely Democrat with Biden as the nominee. Georgia has shown a real, at the statewide level now, understand this is at the statewide level, an antipathy toward Trump. So, what's the bottom line on Donald Trump? What's the biggest pro and what's the biggest con to his campaign? The biggest pro he would have in a Republican primary is he could say, I've been president. I don't need no on-the-job training. Day one, I can go in, I know what the job is. Hold on. His biggest con is people could say, you lost to Joe Biden in 2020. Just like if Hillary Clinton had decided to run in 2020 herself, even though she didn't and said she wouldn't, but if she had, the biggest knock against her campaign would have been, you've gotten beat by the man you're running against. Joe Biden beat Donald Trump decisively, and he beat Donald Trump because of Donald Trump's performance as president. And the fact that people have really made up opinions about Donald Trump. People have a set opinion of the man. There's no middle ground. People either love the man or they hate the man. I personally fall in the hate the man category. Can't stand him. Think he's a very disruptive force on the body politic. But you have people that really like Donald Trump, and they are not quiet about it. This whole ideal of a quiet Trump voter is total BS. If you know a Trump voter, they are not quiet about their support and loyalty to the man. So, just a thought. I'll see y'all later.